Okay, this video is talking about projectiles in Scratch and how we can get things to launch. Your projectiles can be anything from fireballs to snowballs to music notes, hamburgers, French fries, whatever it is that you want to launch or have shot across the room. In my case, I've got two sprites here. I've got my unicorn sprite, and then I've got a what I created is a blast, and I just made a rainbow blast. So my unicorn is going to shoot out and blast out rainbows. So first thing we want to do is we're going to talk about some motion, get us some basic stuff. Should be a review here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to give you a couple of new things also when you're doing your motion. But so I'm going to go in and I'm going to set up my control and say, okay, when I click a key, right? So what I'm going to do is so we'll do on start, and we'll have some stuff here. When I click a key, let's do this. When I click the left arrow, I'm going to want my character to move to the left. Now, one of the things that we can do that's kind of a cool thing is, so my unicorn, like when he's going left and right, I don't want him just kind of slide. I want him to actually face the right direction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to use my motion and I'm going to point it in the right direction. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to point it in direction. So when the left key is pushed, so if I look at this, so right now my direction is off a little bit. I'm going to make it 90 degrees, so it's at 90 degrees. If I wanted to point the other direction, I'm going to go here, so he's pointing that way, so that'd be negative 90 degrees. Right now we're going to talk about something because you can see my unicorn is flipping upside down. So we're going to fix that here in just a moment. But so what I'm going to do is point in direction of negative 90 degrees. So that's going to point in negative 90 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him move. And what I wanted to have it do is to move a certain number of steps. So I'm going to say it's going to move. We'll move 2 steps. The more steps you do, the farther it'll go. So now when I push the left arrow key, my unicorn is moving, but he's not getting to anywhere that he needs to do. So what I want to do is I'm going to wrap that into a forever block. Right, so we're going to put that into a forever block. So when I push that, he's going to move his 2 steps. Now, that he's going there the whole time, so we don't want to do that. What we want to do is just have it so when the left arrow key is pushed, we have him go across, right? So you want to make sure that you're using the right key. So if you put something into a forever block, it happens forever. So we don't want to do that. Now, here's the problem that we've got is my unicorn is upside down. So I don't want to do that. So what we can do is up at the top, I can go up in here and I'm going to go into my motion and we want to set our rotation style. Now, by default, your rotation style, when we rotate our stuff, it will rotate all the way around. So as I rotate this, my unicorn rotates in a circle, 360 degrees. But what we want to do is set our rotation style to be just left and right, which will make it so that your objects mirror themselves. So if you have a fighter jet, maybe your fighter jet goes to the left, goes to the right. So when you hit the buttons, it'll go the right way. So now when I have this, I'm going to stop this and start this again. When I push the button, now my unicorn is facing to the left and he's moving to the left. If I hold down the button, he'll move to the left. So now if I want to duplicate this, what I'm going to do is I'll just right click, duplicate this whole thing. And I'm going to change this to say, okay, when his right arrow is pushed, I'm going to have him face 90 degrees and move the 2 steps going that way. So now when I get this, if I push the right button and I hold it down, it'll move to the right, or I can hold it to the right. If I push the left button, it goes to the left. Now, controlling my speed, I move more steps. So if I make these steps 5, right, and I make this 5, I'd want to make it the same thing. As I'm going, my horse will move faster or will do better, will move quicker because it's moving more steps. So that's a quick review on how you get your motion. Now, I could also go in and talk about adding a costume in, so where it makes it look like it's walking. That's another video. We'll get into a little bit more depth. But so we've got our character moving by steps in the direction that is pointing. So now I've got my character going the right direction. So now we want to set up and get my rainbow blast to come out. So what we want to do is we're going to go into the actual blast. And what we always want to do is in the projectile, we're going to code inside the projectile. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and we're going to have our rainbow blast hidden. So on this main one, we're going to hit this hide button to the eyeball with the cross through it to hide it. So we don't want to show the sprite. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up what are the conditions to get us to do this. So I'm going to do this from the space bar. So I'm going to say when the space key is pressed, this is what I want to do. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to do it's a concept called object-oriented programming. We're going to create an object, and then basically we're going to duplicate or use that object multiple times. So what we're going to do is create clones of certain objects. So I'm going to have my blast, but I'm going to create a clone of it, and then we're going to do something with the clones. So what's really cool with this is what I'm going to do is under this when the space key is pressed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the create a clone of myself. Okay, now we're inside the blast, so it's going to create a clone of blast. Now what we want to do is right then is we're going to bring out is this next code, which is going to be when I start as a clone. So this is how we're going to set up to do our projectiles. So we can put as many projectiles as we want because we're creating duplicates of those projectiles. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up and say that we want to have our blast show, right? And I'm gonna show you some things and we're gonna work on it to make it. So the first thing we're gonna have is we're gonna show the blast. So we're gonna show the blast, right? And when we show the blast, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in as a repeat until, and we're going to put in what is the condition for our repeat until. And so we're going to repeat this until. Now, a good one that we can do that's a pretty good one is touching, and we'll do touching edge. So we're going to have it repeat until it touches the edge. So it's going to keep going, blasting across until it touches the edge. Now we can also add in other commands for it, and we'll show you some stuff here. And we're going to have it move so many steps. So we're going to have it move 3 steps. So we're going to have it move 3 steps, right? And then what we want to do is we want to delete the clone. Okay, so then I'm going to come back into my clone under the control, and we want to delete this clone. Okay, so now I'm moving my unicorn, going left and right, and I hit the green flag to start my game. I hit the space bar. There it is. Now here's the problem that we've got is my sprite, it's going the wrong direction and it's nowhere near my unicorn. So we want to fix that and put a couple things in here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to have our motion and we want to say go to, and we're going to have it go to our uni or my unicorn, go to my character. Then it's going to start. So now when I move, I'm way over here and I hit the plus button or the space bar. It starts my fireballs, but my fireballs are still not going the right direction. I've got my fireball going, but it's going the wrong direction, right? But now at least my fireball is starting from my unicorn. So we got to add a little bit more to our code. So what we want to do is we want to do a point in direction. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in on the top here. We're going to do a point in direction. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go under our sensing, and you're going to see there's a block that says of, and it's got says backdrop of stage. What we want to do is we're going to drag that in, and we're going to put that in that point in direction, and we're going to change the stage to our sprite of uni. And then what we want to do is we're going to do direction of uni. Okay, so now watch what happens. So I'm going to the left and I hit the space bar. I've got my bullets going out to the left. Now if I point to the right, I've got my bullets or my projectiles, my rainbow blast coming out to the right. It's getting a lot better. We still have a couple of problems though. The first problem that we've got is if I hit this, right? Like I could hit the space bar and I got my bullets, but somebody could cheat the system in your game, and if I hold down the space bar, look at that, it gives me this long blast of bullets. We don't want to do that. I want to set it up so that every time I send a bullet, it's you got to press and release the space bar. So what we want to do is under our when space key is pressed, what we want to do is we're going to go up to our control and we want to put in a wait until, and then we're going to go down to our operators and we're going to put a not. And not is saying wait until it's not happening. And we're going to put in a wait until not, and we're going to do key space pressed. Okay. So when we wait until the key space is pressed, what this is going to do now when I start my game is if I hold down the space bar like I'm doing right now, nothing happens. Once I let up, I get my bullets. So I can still get all the bullets I want, but I gotta tap the space bar to get them as far as I want. Now, if you think people are getting too much, like if you don't want them to get the rapid fire machine gun rainbow blast, then you could put in a wait in between there so that you can only get so far. But right now, every time I push the space bar, I'm getting a new bullet or a new projectile. If I face to the left, I get projectiles coming out to the left, right? So now I got some great projectiles. But here's the thing: I want the projectiles to look like they're coming from the unicorn's mouth, right? Or maybe it's coming out of the side of your jet or where it is. So what you want to do is you're going to have to play with kind of your X of where you want it to be. So instead of this go to uni, what we're going to do here is I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to put in a go to, and we're going to do my go to XY. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to XY. And then what I want to do here is I'm going to go under my motion and we'll do under that sensing one again. I'm going to do this of. Okay, so I'm going to drag that one in, and this is going to be, I'm going to change this to say of uni, X position of uni. So I'm going to go to the X position of uni, and now his Y is up a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in this plus for my Y, and this will make sense here in a second. So I'm going to add this plus block into here, and I'm going to go back into that of block. Now remember, we got to change that, so I'm going to go back into that of block. I'm going to drag that one in here. I'm going to change this to uni, and I'm going to go to the Y position of uni. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a guess, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to start right now, and I'm going to go 10. So I'm going to go 10 pixels up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it's going to go to the X position of uni and the Y position of uni, but then it's going to go up 10 to start. Okay, so and you might have to play with this to get it to where you want. So now when I do this and I hit start, let's see here. So I hit the space bar, right? Oh, so it's coming out of his neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this more. I'm going to change this. Let's try 30. Okay. So I'm going to hit the play button again. There it is. But you can see how my blast is coming out here a little bit behind him. It's not exactly what I want to do. So depending on what your character is, you might want to get it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this X and I'm going to actually bring in my minus because I want it to move just a little bit more, a little bit less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my minus. I'm going to put this in here. And I'm going to do X position of uni. And I'm going to do minus. And let's do 5. And let's try see where that is. So when I hit my space bar, there we go. So we go the other way. That might be too much. Let's do minus 2. Start this again. That's pretty good. Now you can play around with it to get to where your bullets are coming out of wherever it is you want to by playing with your X and Y coordinates. This is your basic projectiles.